Hello, Primary 7. Today's learning intention is we are learning how to measure and work out perimeter and area. And today I've set you quite a practical task for our final task. I've set 3 different challenges and I'm really hopeful that you'll enjoy the different practical measuring activities for today. So we're going to be thinking about perimeter and area. Now, for everybody, this is a review. You will have come across perimeter and area before, so nothing is new just now. Okay, so just remember that this is a definite recapping of things that you will have done last year and indeed for many years before. So to remind you, the perimeter is the distance around the edge of a shape. So if we took a journey from one corner and we walked all the way to the next corner of this triangle, and then we carried on walking all the way to this point, and then we finally did the last third side of that triangle, the journey that we've taken would be the perimeter. So however far we'd walked or however far we'd measured, as long as it measured through the whole shape around the edge of the whole shape, that would be the perimeter. And we work this out by adding the sides together. Now, again, this is just a review. So for this triangle, we've got 3 centimeters one side, 3 centimeters another side, and then 1 centimeter at the bottom side, which means that we've got 3 add 1, which equals 7 centimeters. Now, perimeter is, you've got to remember to put the measurement, otherwise it's inaccurate. So you would have 7 centimeters because the measurements of the sides have been measured in centimeters. Okay. For our square, now I've labeled it as a square, but I've also given you clues that it might be a square or certainly a rectangle, some kind of quadrilateral, because we have 2 parallel sets of lines. We've got 4 right angles. Okay. Now for this one, we've got our measurement in 2 meters. Now I've written that in very small writing. I apologize for not being able to read that quite as easily. So we've got 2. Because it's a square, we know that all sides are equal. We've got 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. So we're adding those 4 sets of 2 together, which must mean it's 8 centimeters, the perimeter. Okay, so that's perimeter. We're adding all of the lengths of the shape around the edge of the shape to create the perimeter. Now for today's tasks, and I'll explain this at the very end as well, I would like you to make sure that you choose rectangular objects. And that's just to make your life easier while we're recapping today and doing a practical activity. But also Primary 7, we're going to be moving on to other area next week. So just to start off, everybody today is going to be measuring rectangular objects. Okay. So moving on to area. So area is the amount of space inside the shape. So remember, the perimeter is when you're walking around the edge of the shape. Well, the area is the whole of the internal space inside the shape. Okay. And we measure this slightly differently. So here we've got a rectangle. I know it's a rectangle because I've got 2 sets of parallel lines, which I've highlighted with my dashes at the sides. And I've also got 4 right angles. Okay, and I've got 6 meters one side and 8 meters the other. And because it's a rectangle, I know that this side must be 8 and this side must be 6. Okay, so I've got 6 multiplied by 8. So if we're working out area, we're now multiplying. Perimeter, we're adding the sides together. With area, we're multiplying one side, so one length, with the opposite length. Yeah, so the width and the length. Okay, so we've got 6 multiplied by 8, which is 48 meters. And for area, we always do this little 2, which is squared. That's just how we share area. It means square capacity within that shape. Okay, so just having a look at this other shape, again, a rectangle, different measurements this time, and remembering to look at the measurement, which is written in centimeters with this one. So we've got 4 centimeters and we've got 3 centimeters along the other side. So we've got width multiplied by length. Okay. or height, you could even say it is, multiplied by width. Yeah, we've got one side multiplied by the opposite. Okay, so 4 multiplied by 3, which is 12, but we're writing it as centimeters squared. And remember to put that tiny little 2 at the top. That is how we know that you've shared an area measurement. Okay, so that's reviewing area. Perimeter, we're adding the length of the sides into all 4 sides of the shape. For area, we're multiplying the length by the width. Okay, so the tasks today are quite varied and I'm going to talk you through them. If you are choosing to do task 1, which is our 1-star task, it's a good substantial task, so not necessarily easy option. I'd like you to share with me in your own words what the perimeter means, in your own words. Okay, I know when people have cut and paste things, I don't want to see that. I want to see your own words. Then I'd also like you to share with me what the area means in your own words. Also, if you're doing task 1, you are going to be finding 5 objects. And those 5 objects, I'd like you to find rectangular objects or square-based objects. And yes, always with objects, we're thinking of 3 dimensions, but I'd like you to think of it being a 2-dimensional object today. That's what we're measuring, okay? We will get the capacity within this measurement topic, but today we're just thinking about area, and that means we're working on 2 dimensions, okay? So you're thinking about measuring the length, of one side and the width across the other side. And you're going to find the perimeter of each of those 5 shapes, and you're going to find the area of each of those 5 shapes. That means I'm looking for 10 sets of sums. And I'm going to say this a good number of times, primary 7. I want to see workings out. What started to happen with you all is that you're doing maybe great work, but I'm not seeing a lot of it because what I'm seeing is the answers. And that's great. If I'm in a classroom situation, I can remind you to do your workings out. See, when I'm here in this remote learning situation, I can't know whether you've done that with a calculator or whether you've just taken a number out of thin air and just written down some numbers. I need to see that you're working those questions out, okay, and how you've worked out both the area and the perimeter. Okay, so show me that. Okay, so that's task 1. Task 2, you are going to find just 3 objects, but you're going to be working on scale. Now, scale is slightly different in that we're going to be increasing or decreasing the range that you have created within your shape. Okay, so you're going to find 3 objects. Again, you're going to find your 3 objects and you're finding the perimeter, the journey around the edge of the shape. You're measuring that. Everybody today is measuring with centimeters, millimeters, or indeed meters. And you've got your range around the edge, and that's your perimeter. And then you're going to be also working out the area. Now, when you work out the area, and this is for task 1 people as well, what I'd like you to do is to round up or down to the nearest whole number. We will work on multiplying decimals, primary 7, but I think today that's 1 step too many, okay? So today, when you get to area, I would like you to just round off those answers, okay? So for example, maybe one of my sides, so this is a square, so maybe this measures 3.8 centimeters. If it measures 3.8 centimeters, I'm just going to round up to 4. And I'm going to say I've got 4 this side and 4 this side. For my area, that means I've got 4 multiplied by 4, which would be 16 centimeters squared. Okay, so that's what I'd like you to do, but just for area, because I know that all of you can add decimals really well. Okay, so today is a good practice for that. Okay, so moving on, we've got scale. Now, scale is something that maybe some of you might need to think about a little bit more. I have explained this in my notes, so I'd like you to have a really good look at what scale is. If when you look at that task, you think, I don't really understand the scale, please just either do task 1 or indeed you might choose to do task 3, okay? So task 3, I would like you to think of measuring either a room in your house or indeed the full floor space that you have for either the upstairs or the downstairs of your house. Now this will mean quite a lot of measuring. Okay, so if you choose to do this, might be good to have a measuring tape rather than just a little ruler. But if you do and you want the challenge, then by all means, on you go, measuring your house or your room. Okay, I've explained all of these tasks enough, I think, Primary 7. I'm looking at the time and I want you to get on with your learning now. If you have any questions for me, just message me in. And I'm hopeful that you'll have a really good time measuring things in your house today. Okay, well done, everyone. Doing a great job.